Hello and welcome to the Every Other Saturday podcast, our brand new episode this week, where it's finally actually happened. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has been sacked as Rangers boss, breaking this morning, kind of out of nowhere. I think a lot of people accepted at the time after the St Mirren game, where no decision was made, that he was going to lead us into the new year as well. But he has his marching orders a day, kind of broke out of nowhere, as we said, like this morning, fan media reporting it, and then sort of bigger news outlets jumping on it as well. And then eventually the statement for Rangers confirming that he was to be gone. They put on record, obviously, their thanks and stuff. Didn't really say if his backroom staff would also be gone, but I would imagine so. Would imagine it'd be a complete deal for everybody to go involved. But we're here to give our thoughts on his time as a manager. We've obviously gave our criticisms over the past months, rightfully so. But looking at his time as a whole, we'll comment on that. And also, we've got a couple of managers who recently have kind of broke into the spotlight and who can success him. So we'll talk on them, give our thoughts on them, and you can give our thoughts too on in the comment section. You can like, subscribe, and share as always as well. Very appreciated. But first, obviously, need to talk about the man, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. It's a bit of a bittersweet feeling when you wanted him gone, but you know deep down he was a good guy, only tried to do his best with the shite that he had to serve up. Like, I get the style of football just did not suit us at all. It wasn't fun to watch. It was just demoralising. But I mean, you look at his time as a whole. He started off pretty well, getting us into the Christmas break last year on 6 points, and then, I mean, the way it kind of crumbled, and then European run, which I'll always be very, very thankful for. It's something you'll just never witness again in your life, and he's obviously the orchestrator of that. So I put on my thanks to him, and also for the Scottish Cup. Just a few days after as well. Good victory to get that cup back. But apart from that, kind of it's kind of been coming all season, and it's like it's been coming all season. It's been sort of disaster after disaster.
It was a definitely, and as you say, Europa League run so special, so memorable. You definitely got to thank him for that, and how exciting we were, and also the Scottish Cup as well. It was a great, obviously, to bring that silverware back to the club. But I mean, part for that,
Well, PSV as well. Thanks for
well,
like beating
PSV as well.
PSV, because I don't know how we
Well,
even
I
done
mean,
that.
you could say that, but then also then you look at you get absolutely walloped in your group as well, don't you? 7-1 and what have you. But
Yeah, that's where it kind of comes to a close,
that's
doesn't
where
it?
it's you think to yourself, you know what, I kind of would have missed out on this. But honestly, overall, Europa League run, be remembered. And obviously the Scottish Cup victory as well. But league form just wasn't good enough. Style of play wasn't exciting. It was torrid, man. It was soul destroying. But as you say, mate, you got to thank him just for that Europa League run, really.
Aye, of course, of course. I mean, league form was never good,
Never
which
good
is
enough,
the
mate.
problem. Like, he came in obviously as a new manager will do, get the bounce for the players and
Mhm.
get believing in his ideas and his way of playing and stuff. I remember Livingston away. We kind of just came out of the box and within 10 minutes we're 2-0 up. Like, Hibs away, we grinded out and we got a penalty and we won that game. Like, Hearts away at the time was a really big one, 2-0 victory. Like, up until Christmas, I mean, we were fine. It was just when we came back for that break, it just kind of all fell apart. Like, straight into the Celtic game. And then after that, just drop points. Dundee United away. I can remember after we just gone battered Dortmund 4-2. I mean, how do you manage to do that? It kind of
Yeah.
sums up his kind of tenure as a whole. Like, you can go home or go away and beat anybody, and then just play absolute dross and drop points or get beat off somebody else. So, thankful for him. Nice guy, but it just didn't really work out. It didn't really strike me as a manager that the players could really take any belief in, to be honest with
No, I
you.
didn't. Not for me, sorry, mate, but it's not at all. Look, listen, seems like a really lovely man. Really, as you say, he's been at the top of the game, knows all about it as a player. I mean, look at him in this picture. I mean, look at the styling and the profiling in this picture. But just as a coach, I just didn't think he was good enough, as you say. I don't know whether he'd be kind of the coach where he's more kind of like a mate towards the players, instead of, actually telling them how it is. I couldn't imagine Gio going a full rager at somebody like Ryan Kent.
That's
But
something we can maybe actually hear now because he's
he's
no
gone.
longer here. Like, you
It's
could maybe
interesting, and I mean,
find
if he
out those
wants to
things.
give his first interview to me and you, that would be sensationally fine. You, we would happily have you on the podcast, even though we've slated you. We'd still have you on the podcast.
Nah, of course, but nah, just all the best to him and his staff.
Absolutely.
Just
You
thanks
know
for
what it
giving
is?
us those moments. You know what I mean?
Honestly, when you think about it, the Europa League run sort of, you really touch on it. Group form wise, we know that we were sort of really going out. We were all thinking ourselves, you'd rather just give it out and focus on the league. But to turn the group form around, get us through, and then take on some of the teams we took on in Europe, I think it definitely needs to be respected, as we say. Like, some of the greatest nights probably we'll ever see, mate. Don't think we'll ever, you never know, but generally we do know probably that we'll never see anything like that again. How close we came being Europa League champions. You've got to give credit to that, and also, as you say, the Scottish Cup. But as I say, league form just wasn't good enough. I remember back, as I say, to the Celtic Park game. Just for me, with that, you've got to set the tempo there, and obviously it doesn't help when you get somebody like Barisic in your team. But
I think it was the fact that happened again this season. We went there and
uh,
just showed absolutely nothing.
nothing.
I guess that's kind of a telling point of how far away actually are for Celtic at the current moment. And that's basically why this decision's been made. We're 9 points behind. We're out of Europe, and we really need to get something for this season.
This
So
season's right off, really. You know, it's cups, really. And obviously, the manager that's coming in, he's going to find that he's going to, yet again, need time to
exactly, we're
probably.
in the same position as we were with
You
Gio.
know what really annoyed me about Gio? See that recent interview he did, and he got asked about the players and the fact that these players aren't your players, but obviously you brought players in the summer. And then he turns around and goes, "But these guys are all my players." No, they're not, Gio. Half of that team is still Gerrard's team. Like we all know that. Do you know what I mean? Just obviously you brought a couple of players in, Cholak's his player, and what have you, Tom Lawrence and all that. But most of that squad was still a Steven Gerrard team. And as we all know, it's time for a lot of the players to move on and get out of the club. And I don't
Nah,
know, mate.
it's going to be an absolute clear out. Like if
It's got to be.
obviously Gio came in and he was the successor of Gerrard, obviously 4 years of work. It was hard to kind of just get rid of all of that in the space of
No,
like a certain amount of
the
time. But
windows.
we had to move on and make
Mm-hmm.
this team his own team. I know what he's saying, there his players, he coaches and whatever, but these
Aye,
players
but
had to be
still,
moved on. And I just don't really think he get a fair try at the transfer market ever. I mean, we spent money this year and then we lose two
well,
big
that comes down to
players. We don't
the
really reinvest the money, and that goes towards Ross Wilson and the board up there for dealing
exactly.
him such a bad hand in terms of transfers. I mean, you look at us, it's just laughable the signings we make that just never work out, and I think that's maybe one of his shortcomings as well. But the next guy that comes in has to be somebody that the fans can get behind, the fans can admire the style of play, see the direction, because under Gio it was going nowhere. We were just going backwards to like 2017, like horrible football, getting beat off every day. Needs somebody to come in, instill belief in the players,
Mhm.
and just have fight about them. If it's
Yeah,
your
boys.
games at home, like I know you're
Aye,
playing Ajax, but you've got players coming out saying, "Oh, we just couldn't compete with Ajax's
that's
press." Like,
no.
come on, like it was Tav that said that as well. Like,
Aye.
you can compete. I just don't feel like they've
I
had the
just
belief
watched you
this
compete
season.
a couple of months ago. Do you know what I was against
Exactly. You're trying to tell me in
Liverpool?
that run,
You
if you
can't
came up
compete
against
against
Ajax,
Ajax at home.
you wouldn't have went out
So
and
I've never
tried to beat
heard
them.
if that's the mentality that's getting into the players. As I say, he's got to go. But as I say, I agree with you 100% on that. In terms of transfers, was let down massively, and that's the other man that needs to go now. Ross Wilson, he has to be gone now as well. For me personally, but see, just on when the new manager comes in, would you do sort of a 1 year kind of thing where it's, depending on how much he's been successful, whether he can stay in the job, or are you going to just turn around and do what we did and give you that?
Has to be. I think it has to be now. Like,
Can't
but
afford to waste money like this anymore, man.
well, that's what Celtic done with Ange Postecoglou. They
Pogba,
go
that's
right. There's a year, and look what he's achieved in that year. Like,
yeah.
it's going to hopefully make the boss that comes in hungry to make it right in the first year. It's also going to give us the opportunity not to be stuck in the same situation again, having to pay off a full team of coaches for another 2.5 years. So I think it's a good idea. All depending on if the manager that they want wants to do that. Like maybe he wants security, maybe he wants
Obviously,
somewhere to stay. Like
uh,
it's a
you
double
can be
way.
empty with any job in it, really. But I just
Aye.
think for us, in terms of not getting stuck in a situation like this again, it makes so much sense. Sorry, and it's incredibly smart for me personally. But if you're bringing in some of the candidates that obviously you've lined up here, I think a lot of them maybe would want a long-term
Mm-hmm.
contract just to know that they're there and they're going to have the chance to develop. But as I say, I think a lot of them might run into the same problems Gio ran into. I don't think anything's going to change unless Ross Wilson and a lot of the board
Oh,
members are
there you
gone.
go. That's Ross Wilson. That's a guy picking the next guy. Like, it just
It's
doesn't
that meme I sent
strike
you.
me with any confidence.
Honestly, you're happy Gio's gone, then you remember, oh wait, fuck, he picks the manager. Oh my God, no.
Nah, it's just they can't even pick a fucking right winger for 5 years. How do I expect them to go and pick the next guy to take us forward? I mean, some of the candidates we've been linked with 100% look promising, but who says to come in when they come into Rangers are just going to be fucking watered down and just not being able to be themselves, be their own identity? Because that's what I felt at times with Gio as well. Like, always take myself back to that press conference after the PSV game. He was he was buzzing, obviously, rightfully so, getting the team back to the Champions League. And he got asked about finances, and he was like, it opens a lot of new opportunities. We'll see what we can do. And then 2 days later, he's like, oh, no, I'm happy with the team. To me, that was just the board saying, no, you're not
What?
getting anything.
You're not
Like,
getting MD, and that's what I'm saying.
that's
I
what I
don't
kind
think.
of felt about him all the time. I'm like, he never actually spoke the way he felt, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping, as I say, he's more welcome to go on this podcast and speak his true feelings. But you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to angle for this and get people sharing for it. But no, I just, as I say, I don't feel like any manager that comes in is going to get the proper real support and backing to truly have their team truly express their philosophy and whatever you on football. But I just don't think they'll ever get it with Ross Wilson and that board there, mate. They're the
Aye.
ones that really need to go. We really need change up at the top level, as we say.
No, that's the thing. It's always going to start with the manager. Let's be honest. This is
But
where we are now. But aye, the board have to follow. If things don't get better, if we don't get the right appointment, if we don't see any silverware or anything this season, it will be on the board's head this time.
you I don't want players for the championship in the Belgian league anymore. Can we?
I mean, I don't want to be spending huge amounts of money on these players. Like, I'm fine with getting Tom Lawrence in a pre-contract. I'm fine with getting Nicholas Raskin, who we were linked for Standard Liège, on a pre-contract
If
deal.
it's smart business,
If
mate,
it's
then
smart
I.
business,
But
100%. But
I'm
I'm
not
not taking
paying
Kenny
millions.
McLean. I'm not taking Kenny McLean
No,
in this Rangers team.
that is such a
What's the point?
2017-16 signing, man. It's not a progressive signing, as you say, man. It's just
It's just another stopgap where you could go out and get somebody for 1-2 million. You could maybe go and invest in, buy into, shop about the market. Just don't keep using the same avenues, and that's what Ross Wilson's been crucially like. Just Belgian league and just Bossman transfers and that, like, it's just not good enough. But aye, moving on to, obviously we'll talk about the candidates in for the job. But aye, all the best to
all
Gio,
the
and
best of
thank
you.
you for.
I think he'd be a good international manager, to be fair to him. I think he would do no bad at maybe going into international coaching, but
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't good enough for us. But as you say, thank him for the Europa League and the Scottish Cup and all the
Aye,
best to him.
and all the best to Gio. But the main front runner, I mean, at the moment is kind of broke, is the former Bayer Leverkusen manager Gerardo Sioni, I think is how you pronounce his second name. He's a Swiss manager, 44 years old. He's also managed young boys. And that was a young boys team. I think he got into the Champions League, won a couple of league titles with them. And just after he left, they went and beat Man United last season, I think.
Season, aye.
So he left behind a good team. Off the top of my head, I can remember Ryan Jack plays with young boys. Fastnack, the winger that plays over there. And also Jordan Sabatiu, who plays now with Union Berlin, American International.
Aye, it was a bit thing, I know.
But he's done well over there. Then went to Leverkusen and installed them to be a really good outfit in the German league. They've kind of been a mainstay up there. Obviously played Atletico Madrid. You'll probably know more about them this season. But when we played them, I mean, they were top class. That was under Peter Bosz, right enough. But after that, that was your man there. And he's went to Germany, and he's been in his homeland, Switzerland, and he's made it work for both sides. The only thing I maybe question about him is, why is he out of job if he's that good? Maybe that's the only question about it. But he seems to be, at the moment, the bookies' kind of favourite to go and be the next manager.
I mean, I don't know anything about him. I won't pretend I do know anything about him, mate. Be an interesting one to come in. Wouldn't be one off the top of my head. As I say, I've no personal preference here. You know, the people that obviously we've got here on the list here that you've been rumoured with or what have you, I've got to see them in officially to get the feel for them. But it'd be an interesting one. It'd be, as I say, it's somebody I want somebody out the blue come in, implement their styles, their ideas, their beliefs. Not somebody who's just going to come in with the same old. Really want a new change and a new direction for the club. Somebody the players can actually believe that is a coach. I mean, just to look at him, do you know what I mean? You could tell he probably could go in there and rattle one
I
of the players
need
up.
somebody just to go in and not cuddle these players and put an arm
No,
around them.
I don't want any of
I
them
need them to
cuddled
come
ever
out
again,
and
man.
I need them to look at that league table and think, well, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
Man.
And
I
get to
need
work straight
somebody.
away.
I need somebody with that Adam Sandler treatment and hustle. Do you know what I mean? I need somebody to be telling Morelos, listen, bro, lay off the cheeseburgers. Why are you on the beach? Cholak's in the gym. Why are you on the beach? Cholak
Nice.
is in the gym, outworking you. You're on the beach.
Aye, like there's just so much wrong with the actual squad as well when you think about it. Like just the mentality of the players, and you just hope somebody comes in and installs
Mm.
just a winning mentality in
Oh,
these players again. Like these players look defeated every time they even step on the pitch. Like
much.
I need the team to go out and play away. Definitely play with intensity and play with heart and play with attacking ability. Like, we've just not shown anything in an attacking sense for about what 3 months. Like
Aye.
I'm not sure about his style of play. Right? I'll need to watch.
Cojones. This is what you're talking about.
I
Cojones. I
need
need a
people
team
with
with
balls.
cojones.
I need somebody to come in and give the players balls, so
Somebody
give
that
them a
doesn't
booting.
rely on Scott Arfield every second half would be nice as well.
Aye, please, and somebody who can tell Morelos, see, look, see them now or never. You're gone in the summer if you don't get your act together. Same way Ryan Kent. Same way the majority of the team.
It's just you when you said that the first time. Like, I won't lie, obviously, but I was like, Morelos, what are you talking about? And then like I'm seeing these pictures and all that, and then I'm thinking to myself, this guy's head's really no in it anymore, is it? Really, you can just tell that he's on the beach, he's living the good life. Like,
I know
fair
you're all
enough,
right
it's
to
a
go away
break,
with
but
your
you still
family,
take
but
care of yourself. You still, you know what I mean? You still take care of yourself. You know, this World Cup's on for obviously a couple of weeks, and then we're back at it. It tells me where mentally some of the players are.
no, and he's obviously the front runner at the moment. I want to watch his style of play and how they play with
Obviously.
his other teams. And
Let's get
if
on
anything
him,
comes
the
out,
fans' favourite.
and the favourite to a lot of the fans, because I think the fans are still stuck in Gerrard mode, is Michael
Right.
Beale. Michael Beale is a great guy. He's
Fantastic,
going to
in
be
my
a
opinion.
fantastic manager. Let's not beat around the bush. He's doing great things with Queen's Park Rangers already been touted for the Wolves job. But for me, all those good positives, I just don't want to go back to somebody that we had and really need a fresh start. I don't want somebody to come in that's already worked with near enough all of these players. Like,
Mm.
there's nothing against Michael Beale as a guy at all. I think maybe one day he could be a Rangers manager, no doubt about it. But in this current moment, he's not for me, I'm afraid.
I mean, I've got obviously, same as every other Rangers fan, I've got such a soft spot for Michael Beale. I love him. I'm so happy to see him doing well at Queen's Park Rangers. You could argue probably took our best defender and Leon Balogun and how much he's been really decent for them. We've heard them, but it sort of does feel like obviously you'd be going back to the Gerrard sort of peak time period. But as you say, that's the negative for me is these players know him and he knows these players. That's where it's the sort of negative for me, you know what I mean? Because he could end up, there's so many players could be like, I'm not doing that for you, Michael. I've done that, you know what I mean? They know his sort of ideas and the comfort, maybe just getting comfortable with his style of training or whatever. I don't know. I'm sort of same as you, mate. I just want an outsider. I don't want to go back to anything we've had before. I don't
Aye.
want anybody who's ever been at the club to come in. I want somebody who's got no relation to the club and just goes, this is how we're playing football. I don't care if you've been the best player last 2 seasons or whatever. If you're not performing for me, you're not playing. That's the kind of manager I want in the door. We
Aye.
get on to the next one then, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I mean, this is
I'm not
one that's
against it.
this is
I'm
one
not
that's came
against it.
through, right, and my dad's against it. My dad doesn't want this to happen.
Like,
People I've talked to don't want this to happen. They're totally against it. But I watched Sean Dyche on one of the Sky Sports shows.
Monday Night Football.
Might have been Monday Night Football, and just the way he was talking, I was kind of like, wow, this is why this guy is so respected as a manager, why he's done so well with Burnley. Like Burnley, all teams he kept up and got them European football, beating Liverpool, Man United, like beating all the bigger teams and really going testing themselves against them. But the fall down for Sean Dyche is always the style of play. Everybody thinks it's absolute Brexit football. Like, and I've been reading through those claims, and when they went down to the championship, that they totally changed the style of play because they knew they were going to be on the front foot. They knew they were one of the better teams in the league, and they knew they had to get promoted and get points. When they go into the Premier League, they need to stay up. They're obviously going to change their style of play. They're obviously going to be hard to beat. I think for 1 second Sean Dyche comes to Rangers and plays like he did with Burnley in the Premier League.
No.
That's something I just can't get my head around.
And also, you've got to remember when he took on the Rock at WrestleMania 17 and also joined with Vince McMahon, it was a very different time now. I generally, you can't just write him off with that. I 100% agree with you there. Like, got to play to keep points, to keep Burnley in the league. Obviously, as you say, in the Championship, they know they're one of the best teams, so they're going to play. And he's had a time period off, and I guarantee he's changed his thoughts maybe on what he used to think. Like, his style of play might have developed, might have changed. I think he'd done a hell of a job with Burnley, and to not take this guy would be, I think it'd be a bit foolish, really, for me. You obviously the unknown in maybe European football, as you say. How would we perform? That's the only thing. But then that's the pro, and maybe if we've got a tough away game, you know the team's going to play a certain way. All right, it might be the most boring, but if it gets us the point, keeps us in the competition, that's what you want. But all I'm saying, I'm not against Stone Cold Steve Austin coming in, giving Ryan Kent a wee stun, and maybe hitting Morelos with a chair shot. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, like there's a reason why he done so well at Burnley against. You were looking at Burnley every season. You're like, how the fuck do they stay up all the time?
Aye,
like every single year, I'm pretty sure if we done a predictor, they would be at the bottom of the league. Like, but they always punched above their weight. They always competed as well. They were always so hard to beat.
Good signings as well.
Make some good signings. They had Maxwell Cornet, obviously last season. Chris Wood,
Dutch boy as well. Up front for him. He's
Veghorst. They've had some good players, good team. Kind of.
The only issue probably with him coming in, as I say, is probably for the same order. Would they get backed? Will they fully believe in him? Would they fully back him? Because as I say, it just feels like any manager comes in that this board aren't going to believe in them fully, the way that obviously as the fans we hope they would be.
Yeah.
But it'd be an interesting one at least. That's what I would say.
That's maybe kind of where I'm on Sean Dyche as well. I think there's positives for him definitely, but I also think that negative is he going to get the money to spend? Obviously, he worked on quite a tight budget at Burnley for the Premier League in scale, but it's obviously going to be astronomical compared to what we've got to work with. Is he going to want a big contract? Is he going to want a lot of money? Like, there's that. He wouldn't be my first choice, I don't think, because that European football, we want to be competitive in Europe. Yeah. Obviously, the guy's not really had the chance to do that, but
that 1-0 Wales.
I think he would install a lot of belief in the team. It's actually 1-0 USA.
James stands
just the corner eye there. It's 1-0 USA. I don't know who scored, but Sean Dyche, I don't think it'd be the worst appointment ever, but I can understand why fans are against it in some ways, but then I can also back it up and be like, he would not play like that with Rangers, surely not. No. But the last one that's kind of been touted around is Knutson. I don't know how you say his first name, but Knutson of Bodo Glimt kind of burst on the scene, didn't he, last year? Beating Roma 6-1. I mean, competing in the Conference League, beating Celtic home and away. This season didn't do too well in Europe, but running Arsenal close and giving all the teams in a group a good game, PSV in there as well. So, a tight budget as well. Norwegian League, kind of left field. He's also had a lot of admirers. Premier League jobs kind of come up for him, but I'd be for this. I think this would be a project, though. This would be one of the guys you bring in and you're like, look, it's not going to happen straight away. He needs to get his players in. He needs to get his style of play across to everybody, and it's sort of a process over the years. Which again, I kind of like that idea. But I like it. I like him. I think it could be a good appointment.
Listen, it could be a good appointment. Obviously, you know him for obviously beating Jose and what have you. But as I say, it comes to this kind of guy. You'd have to back it. It's the same with him as I keep making the point, mate. In the back of my head, that's the question that keeps going over and over: is are the board genuinely going to back these guys and bring in the players that they want to work with? And as I say, obviously these are the candidates behind me, but watch Russell Martin get it. I'd kill myself if Russell Martin get the Rangers job, man.
That's the concerning thing about that is probably a name that would excite the board.
That's what excite the fans, I tell you that much.
It can't happen.
That's no. I would never. No. Just no.
But there's obviously options out there. It's exciting to look at managers and sort of know you're out of that rut. But
Sorry.
I mean, that would be one of the more exciting appointments. But we'll see what happens in the coming days. I think Rangers will want to get this done as quick as possible to get the manager
I
in
don't know,
place
man.
for the
Take your
players
time.
coming back.
Obviously, obviously want to get him in as quick as possible, but at the same time, let's not rush into any decisions here.
I think they've been talking to people throughout the week, though. I think
they've been talking to people for the last couple of weeks because, as you say, I don't think Gio obviously get announced today, but I think he's known for a wee while that he's no longer the manager of the football club.
He knew since the end of that St Mirren game the way he was talking. The man sounded defeated, and I kind of felt a matter of time, and you were like, why is he still here? Like, maybe in that week something's completely changed. Managers popped up, or talks have happened. We'll never know. But I think with the timing of it, I think they'll want to get somebody in place for this time next week at the latest. In my opinion, we'll obviously see how it develops over the days. It's actually maybe going to be good to go on Twitter again and not just see negative stuff and actually learn a bit about who's up for it and that.
These World Cup memes have been quite funny. I'm not going to lie there.
Well, you've got plenty to enjoy now.
Aye.
But let us know who your preferred candidate is to take Rangers forward. Who's the next permanent manager of Rangers? Let us know, and if you could like, subscribe, and share for us, it's always appreciated. And we'll be back. Hopefully, the next podcast will be announcing the new manager,
the new boss is the new manager,
giving our thoughts on it. So we'll see you then.